What is going on, everyone? Welcome to a new week of streaming, and it's going to be a great one. We've got new games, we've got continuing awesome playthroughs, we've got politics, and all kinds of stuff. On today's show, I'll get you all caught up on everything, but particularly today, we've got a big topic to cover. The Game Awards are in less than a month, and the Game Awards are under giant fire right now, not for one reason, not for two reasons, but for three completely different reasons at once. It's pretty interesting because this show every year tries to be the Oscars of gaming, and sometimes it's better than others, but this year it seems there has been a shift. So we're going to talk all about that. Plus, we're going to talk about Bloodborne and more. It's going to be a great show, a good return atmosphere right here on today's episode, the first of the week, the Level 1 Podcast.
Get ready for some meaningful content, because the king is back, the king of the live stream, the king is back. Woo!
Alrighty, everybody, good morning and welcome to a brand new spanking week of content. Today is Sunday, the 17th of November, 2024. It's almost Thanksgiving, if you can believe it. One more week, and then it's Turkey Day. We'll be stuffing our faces with all kinds of Americana, and I cannot wait. It's going to be a special week, of which, by the way, we still have to talk about what we want to do. On Thanksgiving Day, I'm going to probably do a daytime stream, and then during Thanksgiving, during Black Friday, I'm probably going to be doing content, and we're not sure what to do this year. I'm definitely feeling we're not going to do any advertisement reacting like we did the last 2 years. I think this year we'll do stuff a little different. Keep in mind also that my DS Politics show is scheduled for Thursday nights, but I'm off Thursday of that week, or Thursday night of that week, because it's Thanksgiving. So does that mean that it shifts to Wednesday, or maybe I do it Friday night? I'm not sure. We got to talk all about this. We have a little over a week to figure that out. So we're in no huge rush, but it would be nice to, figure that out ahead of time. But anyway, welcome back, everyone. Yesterday was my day off, and spent a lot of time out and about doing stuff during the day. Well, I can tell you this. What I'm noticing as a big difference between when I am doing a day off during the weekdays versus weekends is traffic. It's not even necessarily the stores. Like, when I get into the stores, they don't seem to be more crowded. Like, I would even say sometimes the grocery store is less crowded on Saturday than it used to be when I went on a weekday. But the traffic is just really bad. There's one or two streets I have to drive down that it's just like bumper to bumper. And it reminds me of back when I used to live in Connecticut, rather than now that I live in Washington State, where like all the time driving around in Connecticut was like that. Like, there was always bumper to bumper traffic. Took so long to get anywhere for no good reason. And it's frustrating when you already have limited time. You just want to get your chores and errands done so you can get home and do more meaningful stuff with the family, and you can't get home, you're stuck out, Anyway, I hope that you're all having a good weekend. Today's going to be a good streaming day for sure. Gameplay content today should be superb, because we got a good lineup of Bloodborne being the first stream today. I've played Bloodborne on the PS5 Pro twice over the last week. You guys really seem to enjoy the playthrough so far. First time I'm playing the game in over third time I'm playing the game, but I haven't played it in over 5.5 years. So going back to it now is pretty awesome, especially with the fact that I have played every Souls-like, game from FromSoft. And I'm really having a good time playing the game. I'm looking forward to this major stream of it today. Tonight we're doing Call of Duty, which is always a good one. And tonight we're finally, after like 2 entire streams of grinding, unlocking the Akimbo pistols. So we'll finally be able to have 2 handguns at once, which is always ridiculously silly and fun. So I'm having a good time. With all the games we're playing right now, I'm excited for today's streams. I think that they're going to go really well. And I hope that you guys are ready for the fun all this week. By the way, before we even get to anything else, I should direct your attention. Ladies and gentlemen, the goal streak continues. We have hit 68 straight streams where I am hitting my goals and crushing the trolls as usual, right? 68 straight. And I hope that you guys are enjoying the content. You must be, because how could this have been going on for almost 2 months now, right? Now, on Friday, we did the Taco Bell Decades menu as the celebratory episode of DSP Tries It. But this week coming up, we got an interesting idea, which we have to kind of work on over the course of the week. By the way, per your request, because remember, the king listens. The king listens to his subjects and their requests. And everyone has been saying, Phil, you've revitalized DSP Tries It. You've now been doing it for like 5 or 6 weeks in a row. But what happened to the intro? You used to do this epic intro for DSP Tries It. It wasn't really epic. It took like 3 seconds to do in an editor back in the day. But you haven't done it in ages. What happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. DSP Tries It. So yeah, when DSP Tries It returns, so does the intro, only upgraded for the modern day. How about that? So I hope you guys are excited now. You might say, well, what is the reward this week? We talked about it and tried to figure it out. This week, okay, we basically wanted to do something different, but something we've been talking about in recent times as well. So here's the deal. A few months ago, I'd say it was probably like in the spring or early summer, on my now retired Clips React show, DSP versus the Internet, someone had submitted a clip of an internet chef. I say that because he basically just cooks for the internet. And this guy on YouTube, who's a very popular YouTube channel, made what is called a smash burger. Now, as I was watching the video, I highly criticized it. And I said, I don't understand this fad at all. This is a fad. It's been going on for several years where everyone seems to be under the impression that smash burgers are the best kind of hamburgers or cheeseburgers, that they're all the rage now. And I just don't get it, because when I was growing up, I was taught, do not, when you're making a hamburger or cheeseburger, do not squish the patty. If you push the patty down, what you're doing is you are squeezing the juice and the fat and all the content in there that you want with that meat patty. You're squeezing it out, and you're going to make it dry, and you're going to make it too thin, and it's just not going to be as good as if you just let it cook and be plump and juicy. So I don't get why smash burgers have become such a craze in the last 5 years or so. I never heard of anyone eating a smash burger until just recently. Now, apparently they've been around for a while, but they were never like a mainstream thing. And now all of a sudden they blew up on the internet and everyone started making them. In fact, pretty much a lot of different chains are focused on making just this type of burger. Okay? So for DSP Tries It this week, when we hit the goals this week, which you do the math again, okay? So today would be 69.70. Tomorrow, 71.72. Tuesday, 73.74. Wednesday, only one stream, 75. Thursday, 76.77. And so, on Friday, 78. When we hit goal streak 78, I will be ordering smash burgers from somewhere around here to try live on stream on DSP Tries It. It'll be my literal first time actually trying this kind of burger. And now here's the question. Where do I get it from? And people are of different opinions on this. Some people are like, well, you got to get it from a place that's like renowned and known for it. And then others are like, well, are there places that are doing them now as like a special thing? And yeah, the answer is yes. Like basically I searched, number one, Jack in the Box is a fast food chain here on the West Coast. They just started doing a sourdough smash burger. Like they just added it to the menu. It's not even like a staple thing yet. So you don't know if this is going to be good, because it really is like trying a brand new fast food item, which is in line with what we do on DSP Tries It, okay? But there's also Shake Shack. So for those who don't know, Shake Shack is a very popular fast food chain that has been exploding in buzz areas of pop culture in the last several years, and they've been expanding within the United States. Well, I never had one before. There didn't exist on the East Coast, and since I lived out here, I've never seen one. So I just happened to search. Oh, there is one in my area. It's at the mall. It's in the mall food court. And I'm thinking to myself, if this were like a dedicated Shake Shack that was like a dedicated restaurant, maybe it would be good. But do I really believe that a Shake Shack that's in the mall is going to be any good? It's probably a bunch of teenagers rushing to get the food out. What could the quality possibly be, right? The other problem with ordering from Shake Shack is thus. The mall's about a half an hour away. And I have ordered both from Sonic and Five Guys before, both of which are about a half an hour away. And by the time the burgers arrived, they were absolutely cold and terrible. So I don't foresee that being a good option. Now, there's also some other places around here that do smash burgers, but they're local. And the question is, what's the quality of a local place? It could be amazing. It could be weird. It could be not good. You don't know. So it's kind of like I have options, and I'm just not sure what to do this week. And I think we should think about it over the week, and maybe we'll, over the course of the week, on some of these podcasts, we'll actually look it up, search for smash burgers, and open up some of the restaurants in the area that I can get delivered from and see what they look like and see if it's where I should order from or not. Okay? But we'll try to figure it out. But that will be the goal. All right? It's just we don't know where we're ordering from yet, but it's going to be a smash burger of some sort that I'm going to try on DSP Tries It this week. Okay? I think it's something cool and different to do. Should be fun. I wonder what we're going to do for Thanksgiving week, because that's going to be Black Friday. Oh, man. Anyway. So, let's keep the support rolling. You guys have been absolutely amazing with your support for 68 straight streams. Today, ladies and gentlemen, this stream is stream number 69. And we all know what happens around the number 69. Did you know what is significant about the number 69? Are you aware? Allow me to tell you. The number 6, when flipped, looks like a 9. That's it. So, yeah, hopefully we hit the goal. I don't know why we wouldn't. Today's going to be a spectacular day. You guys have been very supportive with everything I've been doing recently, but you guys have really liked Bloodborne. When I've played it, attendance has actually been quite good. So we'll see how it goes today. Obviously, we're going to go through a nice, fun podcast here and get to the gameplay segment, and we'll see how many people actually show up. I'll be honest. Did you notice this year? I'm just going to let's be very transparent, shall we? This year has been pretty darn dead for games. I'm sorry. The majority of games coming out that are supposed to be high-profile games are RPGs. They're all too lengthy. They're all too drawn out for games. They're not great for streaming. I've tried many of them. They don't work, right? At this point, my audience wants action. So what are the great action games that are out? The Call of Duty. And that's really how it's been. Like, it seems like once a month there's been a game that's held any kind of attention. It has been a pretty darn underwhelming dead year. We're in the midst of what we normally would be calling the hardcore gaming season. Okay? What games are coming out this week? Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 and Stalker 2. Now, I'm not going to crap on those games, all right? I'm not. Microsoft Flight Simulator is great for a certain audience. For us, it's going to be great as a chill stream. And Stalker 2, we don't even know if it's going to be any good. There's like almost nothing about it. No one's reviewed it yet. Like, what is going on with this game? And it comes out in just a few days. So you see what I'm saying? Like, normally this year it would be like, oh, there's like 3 blockbuster games this week. And then next week there's another 2 giant games. How am I going to juggle 7 games at once? And this year it's like nothing. Call of Duty is still the biggest game I'm playing, and it's been out for a month. Everything else kind of fizzled, died, or just wasn't that interesting. That there are no giant high-profile releases like at all coming out. Every game is kind of like a meh. And that's been almost all year. What a different year. And, a lot of people are saying, well, that's okay. Next year will be amazing. And that's fine, but it's just odd. For 16 years, guys, I have been making, content for the internet gaming-wise. This is the first year where I feel like this is the deadest, like slowest season. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's start new shows. Let me start a politics show and stuff. What? I'm starting new non-gaming related content during this time frame? Another year, that would be like mind-blowingly, no way that could happen. But I'm doing it because there's nothing else to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just nothing else going on. It really is underwhelming. And just on top of that, we used to always have that feeling of like, ooh, all the exclusives come out now. There's always a good Sony exclusive, a good Xbox exclusive. Can you name one exclusive that is coming out during this season that people are going to play and be hyped about? This has been a crazy dead year. And like I said, my year-end countdowns are coming. My game of the year countdown and my most disappointing games of the year countdown. It's going to be tough this year. Like, no lie. Right now, if you were to ask me, what are your top 10 games of the year? I don't know if I could name 4. That's how bad this year's been. I'm sorry. It just really has been a crazy disappointment of a year. Like, for me, when I think of a game that's considered game of the year, I think of a game that was best in class, blew me away in some way. You know, something original, something crazy, something groundbreaking I've never seen before. It pushed the envelope, whether that's graphics, gameplay, story, or an element that's never been seen in a game before. Notably, last year, Alan Wake 2 was my game of the year. Why? Cinematography, because it was like a movie and a game at the same time. Graphics, because the graphics were absolutely outstanding. And because they took chances, like an entire chapter that was literally like a music video, right? Have you ever seen anything in a game like that before? No. A year later, I can't name a single game this year I played that had something like that was like made me my jaw drop. It's just been a very blasé, boring year of kind of so-so games. So it's going to be tough for me to do my countdowns this year. Like, legit, it's going to be hard. I'm actually wondering how I'm going to pull it off, but I'm going to try. All right, I promise you, I'm not going to give up on my year-end stuff just because it's been a slow year. I swear I'm going to try to put out some good stuff for you guys. It's just going to be, I got to sit there and look at all the different games and playlists that I made this year and kind of scratch my head and be like, so what's going on, right? And also, one thing that I think I want to do at the end of this year is I want to talk about kind of the most disappointing thing in gaming this year. Not necessarily the most disappointing games, but the most disappointing thing in gaming, which is probably 2 different things that I could talk about. So I may do that too. We'll see. I think it's going to be like a fun year-end stream where I just cover all these topics, okay? So anyway, yeah, I'm excited for the end of the year stuff, but I think you see the point I'm making here. Like, this should be the biggest, most busy time of year. I'm playing Bloodborne on a daytime stream. I'm doing a politics show this week. Why? Because the games don't even hold up enough to be able to do just like new games right now. I mean, I'm trying to play Dragon Age Veilguard. I can't get 200 people on a stream, and the videos on YouTube aren't getting 300 views after like a week. Right now, just on the podcast alone, okay, I have almost double the viewers that I had when I was streaming Dragon Age Veilguard. Oh, what the hell? You know, like, wow. So, it's crazy right now, all right? But I'm excited to be playing Bloodborne. I'm excited to be playing Call of Duty. Shall we do a quick schedule update for the week? I feel like we should. So today it's Bloodborne and it's Call of Duty multiplayer, akimbo handguns. Tomorrow I am going to do a daytime stream of Dragon Age Veilguard. We're going to give it another shot. This will be the 3rd stream, okay? If it does well, meaning people actually show up and support it, I will probably keep playing it. But I'm going to be honest, I'm nervous about it. Like last time, basically 2 people supported the entire thing, and one did a ginormous kind of tip that wasn't expected that I'm sure is not going to be the norm when I play the game, you know? I'm shocked that people just don't care anymore, but I think it's just a different attitude towards games in general, right? Like, it used to be, oh, a new Dragon Age game, and everyone's excited. Now it's like, oh, a new Dragon Age game. Like, ugh, it's been 9 years, and look at this. Now it doesn't even look or feel like Dragon Age, and they got all this dumb shit in it. And you're not wrong. You know, you're really not wrong. It just seems like gaming has gone in this weird direction recently, and I wish that it would turn back towards actually having games that were fun and worth playing rather than have to have these checkbox agendas and all kinds of shit. It's just stupid, right? So, we're going to play it on Monday and see what happens. I hope it doesn't kill the streak. Seriously, I hope Dragon Age doesn't kill the streak. And then Monday night, we're going to do Call of Duty Warzone, which just launched. And funny enough, Warzone launched and immediately everyone complained it sucked, and so they've already patched it. It's been like 2 days, and they already patched the thing because people were complaining that Warzone was bad. So I'm going to be playing Warzone on Monday night and give it a shot for the first time, and we'll see how it goes and go from there. Tuesday, I think the day stream, hold on. I've already forgot. Oh, Tuesday is the premiere of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Now, to be clear, I'm not planning on playing Flight Simulator as a daytime stream more than probably like once, okay? But I do want to try it as a premiere stream. I feel like I want to give it a full day or a full day stream just to explore its features and do some flyovers. It's definitely going to be a chill stream, okay? And I hope that you guys will join me for the fun, okay? And then Tuesday night will be more Bloodborne. Wednesday, I will not be on my first stream at all because Wednesday is when I'm basically doing the follow-up to getting my ceiling fan installed. In fact, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a story in a sec about that. But I'm going to have my other ceiling fan installed that was faulty last week, so that's going to be Wednesday. And then Wednesday night, we're going to do Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 6 will return for the first time in like a month. I'm going to try to get it back regularly into the schedule now so that we can have fighting games back. Because I know people are missing fighting games. So that's going to be Wednesday night, okay? Now, you might say, well, what about Stalker 2? Exactly. Stalker 2 comes out Wednesday. Well, I can't play it on the day stream regardless. I have no day stream. What I'd like to do, okay, is wait and see what goes on with this game. How the hell are there no reviews? You know what I mean? I played Stalker 1 many years ago during a Halloween marathon, and I hated it. I really did. I thought it was terrible. So I don't know if I'm going to like Stalker 2 or not. I'd like to get people's opinions and have people play it and let me know. I don't want to just commit to the game and then we start playing it and it sucks. So, let's see what happens. And if the reviews are good, or if you guys play it and you give me the thumbs up, like, yeah, you should play it, then I'll probably start it on Thursday. Okay? So let's see. Let's see what happens with Stalker 2, and then we'll go from there. Rest of the week, we'll play by ear, and we'll see what happens. Fair enough? Okay. So that's roughly the week. Now, keep in mind, Thursday night is my next DS Politics show. I am currently in the midst of researching topics for the show. I already have a couple good ideas or interesting ideas. The thing is, when I'm doing a DS Politics show, I don't want it to just be about the topics you already heard all week. Like, notably, you probably already heard about all of Donald Trump's cabinet picks for when he goes into power next year. You're probably hearing about these various, you know, common things. It's all the buzz. Sure, I want to touch upon that stuff, but I don't want that to be what I talk about on the show the whole time. You've already heard it, right? So I want to maybe cover some other stories. There's actually some stuff happening locally that I might want to cover. So we'll see. We'll see what I cover this week. All right. Like I said, I'm definitely considering various things, and I think I still have a few days to figure it out. And I have input. People who are submissions tier members on my DSP Reacts channel have the ability to tell me their input, and there's been a few suggestions already that I'm going to take a look as well, try to put that in. So we're going to see. But DS Politics will be Thursday night again, exclusively on Kick. It went really well. So as a follow-up to that, FYI, I have been uploading clips from DS Politics onto the Reacts channel over the course of the last 3 days. They're doing pretty good. The clips are doing far better than the DSP versus the Internet show was doing. Some of which getting over 1,000 views, others getting close. So I basically what I'm seeing is a reinvigoration. People are like, oh, he's putting content on the channel now, and it's interesting content, as opposed to me just reacting to random clips, which was the point I was making. Is if I have different kinds of content, people are going to like it more than just the same thing I've been doing for 2 years that's fallen off, right? So, I definitely hope you guys will check out the clips. If you haven't seen them yet on DSP Reacts, there's like 6 or 7 different highlights. I forget how many I actually uploaded. I think that this morning was the last one, actually, because I had them all scheduled out. Yeah, here we go. Just to show you. Just to show you what I'm talking about. So, it's its own playlist, DS Politics Highlights. And I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had 7. Okay, I had 7 highlights that I got out of the show. And each one, I've been doing about 2 a day. I need to figure out the right pacing. Maybe I should just do 1 a day. Because originally I put out a bunch. Like I put out 1, 2, like 3 in 1 day. And I think that was too many. Then I started putting out 2 a day. So I got to figure out exactly the right pacing of how I want to do this. Okay. But yeah, as you can see, they're doing way better than the video. I mean, the videos on here from the clip show are getting like 100, 200 views. These are obviously doing much better, particularly people like me roasting Will Ferrell. Also, Look at that. The DSP Tries It of the entire Taco Bell Decades menu has done good. It's 1,000 views in about a day, as opposed to when I did that Japanese restaurant, people didn't really like that one that much. People really enjoyed the Taco Bell one more, and that's what I mean. Like this fast foodie stuff, like the Smash Burger coming up, I think is going to do a lot better too. So actually, the content on this channel is doing pretty good compared to this channel used to be dead. People are actually on the channel watching, commenting, liking. That's good. It means this content's finally getting some attention. And thank you for that, anyone who's checking it out. So if you want to be a part of the Politics Show, become a member. And if you do become a member, you will have access to an exclusive post on this community tab. It's right here. So this post is for members only. Well, I can see it because I own the channel, but you got to become a submissions tier member. Then you can see this post and you can respond. So far, 6 people have responded with their suggestions of things for me to cover on this week's DS Politics Show. So consider becoming a member, then you have that input, and there's not a lot of people doing it, so you'd have a big influence on the show. You might give me a really good idea of something to cover, okay? Cool. So that's coming up Thursday night. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time to cover a little bit of a segment that we do every once in a while that I like to call Phil's Day Off. We're actually going to do it this week. We haven't done this in a while, but I would like to tell you a little bit how my day off went. Now, before we get to that, guys, let's get some support on the stream today. I've been doing this for over half an hour now, and we don't have a single contribution. Let's get some stuff. Let's get some super chats, super stickers, memberships, gifted memberships on the YouTube side. Let's get some subs and gifted subs on the Kick side. And let's get some tips on whatever, because tips are through PayPal. They can go through whatever. Right now, I got nothing, 0. So let's get some kind of contribution going to get the momentum going and keep the streak alive for this week. Okay, cool. All right. So yesterday was my day off, and I had a lot of stuff to do. Notably, 2 things happened that I'd like to tell you a story about. Okay. The first is I had to return my ceiling fan to a store. Now, actually, I had ordered this ceiling fan online, but sadly, you couldn't return it online. I was like, huh? Yeah, I went to look at it, and they're like, so you can't mail it back. What you got to do is you got to bring it to a brick and mortar store for a return. And I was like, well, I don't technically want to return it. I want an exchange, right? I don't need my money back. I need another fan to have installed this week that works. So, basically, the way it works is this store has a returns area, but the returns area is before their entry gate. But it's hilarious because their entry gate is literally like 2 metal bar things with a sign that says enter here. And as you walk towards it, a sensor opens it automatically and closes it. If you're on the other side in the store, you can't leave that way. It says this is entrance only. And if you try to exit by pushing, it actually makes a big loud sound to try to attract attention. Now you might say, oh, that's great. That's a great theft deterrent system, right? Except you don't realize I live in Washington State. Washington State is one of the top 3 most liberal states in the United States. And literally, no one here does a damn thing to stop shoplifting. All the stores hate it, but they kept changing our laws so much in the last, say, 5 years. They made it so that, I'm not even kidding you, they won't even prosecute someone who steals unless they steal like $2,000 worth of product. I wish that was a joke, but that's the rule of thumb they use around here. You have to steal $2,000 worth of product from a store for someone to actually have it stick. So, here's what happens, right? I'm thinking in my head, I got the broken fan, and I grabbed a cart from the lot. And I'm like, I'm just going to push the broken fan in the store. I'm going to go right to the fan aisle. I'm going to grab the replacement fan, put it on the cart, and I'm going to go to the returns area. But I didn't realize how that worked, that the returns area was before the gate. All right. So I exactly what I did. I got my cart, I put the broken fan in, I push it in. As I'm walking in the gate, I realized, oh shit, what am I going to do now? Because I'm going to have an unpaid for fan in the cart. And the only way for me to get back to the returns area would be to leave the store with something I didn't pay for, go back around the other entrance and enter there to get to the returns area. So this is going to be a problem. I mean, I could push through, but then the alarm's going to go off and people are going to come running, right? So I'm trying to think in my head how I'm going to do this. So I go and I get the new fan. I put it on the cart. I go back to the area and I'm staring. I'm like, so what's the lesser of two evils? Walking out of this store with something I didn't pay for, and then someone accusing me of stealing, or pushing through the gate and making a big racket. So I managed by complete chance there was an employee walking by. I said, "Excuse me, what do you recommend I do here?" And I explained the situation. He goes, "Sir, just push right on through that gate." I said, "But it's going to make a loud noise, everything." He goes, "Nobody cares." He goes, "It doesn't mean anything. We can't stop anyone. It's against, we literally cannot stop a shoplifter. The gate is just for show. It's a deterrent. No one stops anyone stealing. Push right through the gate and go to the returns line." Okay, so I did. No one looked. No one cared. No one gave a shit. And I walked right to the returns line. And I will say this. Listen to this customer service. Okay? I had to wait in line. There's like two people in front of me. I get to the clerk. And the guy says, "So how can I help you?" And I said, "This one has a dead motor. This one, I want a replacement." He says, "Put the broken one on the counter." I put it up. He goes, "Have a nice day." I said, "Wait, what? You don't want my information?" He goes, "I'll scan the box. I see he has a barcode." He says, "Don't worry about it. Just get out of here." Okay, sounds good to me. You're not going to waste any more of my time. That's great customer service. And I got the hell out of there. So that was excellent. I thought there was going to be like a big rigmarole. "Oh, I needed what credit card did you put it on? Do you have a receipt?" Because the thing is, I didn't have a physical receipt because they had mailed it to me, and it didn't come with a receipt. All it had was the mailing label on the outside of the box. So I didn't even have a receipt. But man, you're just like, "Done. Go ahead." So wow, that was interesting. So I actually really, it was like, that wasn't bad. At least the employees are like so matter of fact and don't give a shit either. He's like, "Yeah, just go right through there. No one cares. Yeah, just get out of here. Take the new one. I don't care. It's fine." Like, all right. Sounds good to me. Now the other thing that happened, why didn't I mail it back? Because they don't accept mail returns. What I just said, you were here late. I tried to do it, and it literally says return. You click on it, it says, "We don't accept mail returns. You have to take it to a physical store." I was like, oh my God. Anyway, so the other thing is a little alarming. It's not the end of the world because I'm already planning on doing it. But basically, I had a big problem with my PC, my streaming PC, not the gaming PC. Thankfully, not the over $2,000 high-end gaming PC. That thing is great. I haven't had a problem with it yet. But my streaming PC, which is over a decade old, it's really starting to show signs of problems now. Okay, I'm noticing that when I was recording Life is Strange the other day, it was saying that the CPU was at like 60%. And I'm like, it's Life is Strange, for God's sakes. There's like no action in this. So why is my CPU being strained to 60-something% just recording this very simplistic game? Normally, it would get pushed if it's like a high action. Like I'm playing Call of Duty or something. Usually you notice the CPU is much higher. But I'm looking at it like, I don't get it. And I'm starting to think, yeah, we're starting to see signs that this thing's, it's conking out. And then, so here's what actually happened that was pretty bad. So, as you know, Friday was my final streaming day of the week. The first stream, I finished Life is Strange. Then I filmed DSP Tries It. Then I went on a break. Then I came back and I did my fighting game stream. So I had a ton of videos to upload, and I couldn't upload them all in time for the second stream. So all I did is I uploaded the podcast and DSP Tries It after my first stream. I saved the Life is Strange gameplay. Then after the late stream of fighting games, I then uploaded Life is Strange and the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 fighting game footage at the same time. This did not work very well. My PC, trying to do this, instead of uploading it in a couple of hours, it took like overnight to get the files to upload to YouTube. One of them never finished. It errored out and wouldn't upload. The thing is, I don't think it's on the YouTube side. I think it's my PC. I think it's like the hard drive is just having tons of issues now. It's running slow. It's just an example. So yesterday I came into the office to check on it, and I'm clicking on a browser, and the browser's freezing up. I'm like, dude, I'm not doing anything. Why is the browser freezing up? I Control-Alt-Delete to check out Task Manager. That won't open up. It finally opens up after like 2 minutes of waiting, and it claims my disk use is at like 60%. I said, I'm not doing anything. I'm not saving a file. I'm not playing a file. Like, what is going on? So I think it's dying, to be honest. I really feel like sad. And it's sad because, man, I've used this PC for over a decade. Like I said, it's hilarious because the day I got it, my detractors, even yes, over a decade ago, are like, ha, he bought a lemon. This has been the longest running PC I've ever owned in my life. I've never had a PC I've used for over 10 years. It's a workhorse monster. So I spent like $3,000 on this thing when I bought it 10 years ago, but I got a lot of value out of it. So I am not upset in any way, shape, or form, but it's time to retire the old girl, right? So I'm definitely looking to get a new one, and I want to save money. I don't want to spend a ton of money if I can avoid it. It is just for streaming and capturing. I'm not going to play games on it. I have a dedicated gaming PC. So I'm definitely thinking getting one that's like maybe mid-range. What it is, I need it to be able to obviously capture and stream at very good quality. I want it to be able to stream at 2 different qualities. So a higher quality for YouTube, but a lower quality for Kick. I want to be able to do that dual streaming of, best of both worlds. And I'm not sure what I need to do that, honestly. I hope that I can figure that out soon so that I can get the right one. Also, I'm going to get a new capture device that will allow me to do stuff like, hopefully, maybe 4K. I don't know about... See, the thing is, right now I can play all games at 4K 60 frames if I wanted on my PC and on my PS5 Pro. But the capture device to do that might be pretty crazy, and I don't know what kind of hard drive space we're talking about to save a 4K video in 60 frames. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure. I'm just not sure what to do right now and what I really need. I'm probably going to be talking to people over the next week to figure this out, to exactly what components should I get for this thing. And I'm looking either Black Friday, Cyber Monday, that weekend. I'm hoping I can get a good deal on a PC and get it. Because like I said, this one, at this point, I'm really nervous. Oh, I forgot to say. So this morning, the PC, I'm getting set up for stream. I'm about to turn it on, and my PC pops up and says, hard drive errors detected. Restart your PC to fix them. I said, what? I have not seen it say that in the entire 10 years I've used the PC. I was like, what the hell? So I restarted the PC, and it did 2 checks of the hard drive, and then it restarted, and now I'm using it, and I'm recording. I hope it doesn't die. Okay? So, I guess we'll see. But yeah, it definitely looks like to me I got to get a new PC probably next week during that Black Friday weekend. Like, you're probably going to be off Amazon. Let's be honest. Amazon has really good deals, usually. Unless I can see a really good deal from like an online thing, like a Best Buy or a Walmart or something like that. I'm probably going to end up getting it from Amazon, right? So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But next week is probably the week. I know we've been waiting a long time, but I think it's time. And then the thing is, the question will be, when do I migrate? Because that's going to be challenging. The migration is going to be tough because I've got to get all of my files that I use to capture and stream onto this new PC, get them all lined up, all new software, because I've been using outdated versions of software for years. So now I got to get the latest version of software and everything, and then figure out how to get all my files to work with it. I just know it's going to be a nightmare. It's not going to be like, oh, guys, new PC day. Let's just plug it right in and start streaming. It ain't going to be like that. It's going to be like a pain in the ass, setting up, work for a couple of days before I can get it working right. I guarantee it's going to be a pain in my ass. So it is what it is, but I'll get it done, but I got to buy it. So hopefully I can find a good deal. Obviously we're all going to be working on this together. I'll be keeping you in the loop and everything because, without a good streaming PC, I can't stream. That's my, what you guys are here for every day, right? So I'll let you know. Okay. So that was Phil's day off. The other thing is I did get to spend a good amount of time with my wife. So now I have migrated both the regular PS5 and the Xbox Series X downstairs to the living room, and my wife now uses them both for gaming. She had been playing Planet Coaster 2 for about a week. She doesn't really like it. To be honest, I agree with her. Like, I remember when she played Planet Coaster 1, it was better. Planet Coaster 1 actually had more interesting content than the sequel. What they did with the sequel was they added water park stuff. So now you can do like a big water park rides, like the water coasters or slides, what they call them, flumes. But when they did that, they took away all the customization options you used to have. Like, you used to be able to do a pirate park, a fantasy park, a space park. And that was all neat. They took all that content out of the game. And now it's just kind of basic park, but you can put water rides in it. But that's not what everyone wants to do. You might get nice custom parks. You can do all different parks and things. You can't even do that. So they released the game. They charged full price for it. And they acted like it was a good sequel when in reality, they removed content. You want to know what this reminds me of? The Sims. It totally reminds me of The Sims. The Sims used to do that shit all the time. They would say, oh, it's The Sims 2, it's The Sims 3, it's The Sims 4. And it would come out, and all the features you liked from the last game were removed. Oh, but don't worry, we're going to sell that to you later as a DLC. But it was in the last game. This is supposed to be the new one. Why would it not have the content? It doesn't make sense. But it seems like that's the route they're going with this game. So she got pretty upset, and I don't blame her. She bought this game expecting it to be better than the first, and it seems like it's actually legitimately worse than the first. So, you know, that sucked. But then she got, well, she was already had it, and she had stopped playing for a long time. She got back into this home renovations game, where what you do is you go into a home. Oh, well, there's two things you can do in this game. In one case, you're a house flipper. So you go into like a busted up house and you like renovate it. You sell junk in it. You knock down walls. You make it a nice house. Then you try to sell it for a profit. The other half is that you're basically like a cleanup crew. So you like go into a house that's like wrecked and it's like someone's house they already own, but they tell you, oh, what I'd like you to do is I'd like to make my kitchen open concept. I'd like you to make it, you know, change this bedroom into a bathroom. And so that's what you do. You go in there and you basically like do creative renovation things with a house. And my wife loves that. She likes, you know, home decor and stuff like that. So she started playing it and she actually really likes it. So, yeah, pretty good. And so she is playing that on the Xbox Series X. So now she has both consoles to play on. Whenever games come out, she actually wants to play. But I mean, again, same thing with me. Like I just said, this year's been almost dead for games, correct? It really has been. There's nothing, no high profile games. For her, even less. Like normally this season, there'd be a couple games she's interested in. Nothing. She's not even playing new games. She's playing Planet Coaster 2, which is the flop for her. And now she's playing a home renovation game. There's nothing out to play. That's interesting, you know? Maybe she would have tried Assassin's Creed Shadows if it were out, but, you know? So anyway, I had an okay day yesterday, an interesting mix of stuff going on, and wanted to keep everybody in the loop. All right. So, folks, we're going to begin talking about this Game Awards thing. This is basically the rest of my show. It's going to be a big chunk of the show, okay? But, guys, so far today, we got great viewership, actually. I can see we got almost 350 viewers on YouTube. How many do we have on Kick? I can't even tell because it never updates properly. Let's look. About 30 viewers on Kick, so we're almost up to about 400 viewers, which is great. But guys, we have no contributions whatsoever. I'm not sure what's going on. We got a good crew, we got a good audience here, but we have nothing, no contributions at all. Certainly, I hope it will pick up when we play Bloodborne, right? But usually I get a ton of contributions on the podcast. Hopefully things pick up, all right? So please support the stream if you can. Again, everything counts towards the stream on every single venue. Super chats, super stickers, memberships, gifted memberships, subs, gifted subs, and tips, all counting. So please support the stream. Let's get the momentum started at least. Let's get a single dollar in of some direction here, okay? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a big controversy right now going on in the gaming community. The last 2 days have been pretty topsy-turvy. We talked about this last week, but the Game Awards are about to announce their Game of the Year nominees tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So tomorrow, at this very same time and place, we will be discussing those. But in regards to the Game Awards, there's a few things going on right now that people are really upset about. And we need to discuss these today because I feel this is going to be pretty interesting in regards to how the Game Awards are received this year. All right? Normally, the Game Awards are received well, and then you have some criticism. I've criticized the Game Awards for many years. You know, number one, I always have been a big critic of how they vote on games for Game of the Year and these categories. It's a jury. Well, who's in the jury? Well, hand-picked games media, a few hand-picked creators. Basically, it's like friends of Jeff Keighley. Like, that's great, but what about people who are qualified? Or what about a common vote? Well, they have a common vote, and it barely factors in. Case in point, there's been years where the jury all vote for one game, and the common vote literally goes 100% in another direction. Notably, it was the year of The Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, where the common vote was almost like 95% for Ghost of Tsushima. I take that back. I think it was like 80%. And so it should have won, but they all gave it to Last of Us 2 anyway, because the journalists wanted to vote for the feel-good Druckmann liberal game, which is stupid because it was a good game and should have been voted on for the right reasons, but that's why they did that. So, yeah, like, I've always had criticisms of this show. It's too long. It's boring as dirt. You could tell it's done because he wants to make money. And also the timing. That's another big thing about the Game Awards, right? The Game Awards take place the first week of December. I think this year it's the second week of December, okay? But there's a problem. The second week of December is not the end of the year. So any game that basically comes out between now and the end of the year is not up for contention for Game of the Year. I want to repeat myself. Any game coming out between now and the end of the year is not in contention because the Game of the Year nominees come out tomorrow. So that means no Flight Simulator, no Stalker 2, no Indiana Jones, no Marvel Rivals, and anything else, because I only mentioned the 4 that are at the top of my head. Any other games that came out between now and the end of the year cannot possibly win an award. And you might say, well, that's not true because Mr. Keighley claims that those games can be eligible for next year. No one thinks about those games next year. A game that comes out in a given year is thought about in that year. You're not going to have, what if Microsoft Flight Simulator blows you away? It will not win an award next year. No one will think about it, nominate it, or vote for it. Okay? So essentially, it's a rigged show. It always has been. It's been a bullshit show where the people voting aren't legit. It's skewed to one side by far. And you eliminate games from the running because of the timing. You might say, well, why does he time the Game Awards like that? Money. This is the biggest advertisement revenue time of the year. If he wants to make money on ads, he has to do the show during the holiday season. And no one's going to want to fly out there and do it Christmas week. So he has to get it in within the first 1 or 2 weeks of December, bank on all that revenue, and then run out like a madman, rich as shit. It's 100%. 100%. And it's stupid because he wants it to be legit. And I don't think that, a lot of people think Jeff Keighley is like a heinous villain. I don't think he's a heinous villain. He's got a track record of being in games as a games journalist for a long time. Then he became kind of semi-wealthy doing it and started investing in shows like this, and they took off. I don't think the guy's bad. I just think that he does things in a way that definitely could be done better, and he doesn't listen to criticism because he feels like he is the guy now. You know, with E3 dead, he feels like he's the guy to go to for game news and information, and that he's above reproach. So this year, he is under the most fire he's ever been for the Game Awards. Are you ready? Here's why. So, by the way, I have some shout-outs to do, and I promise you I will do them, but I kind of want to get into the meat of this story. 2 tips have come in. I will shout out those tips in a bit, but I want to get into the meat of this story, okay? So, here is what's going on. Okay, number 1. This year, and this is the first time this has ever happened on the Game Awards, this section has shown up on the Game Awards website. Ready? Are DLCs, expansion packs, and remakes and remasters eligible? The Game Awards aims to recognize the best creative and technical work each year, irrespective of the format of that content's release. Expansion packs, new game seasons, DLCs, remakes, and remasters are eligible in all categories if the jury deems the new creative and technical work to be worthy of a nomination. Factors such as the newness of the content and its price and value should be taken into consideration. Okay? So what does that mean? Up until this year, you'd never seen anyone say, oh, a DLC could be Game of the Year. Right? You really haven't. It never happened. Or a remake or remaster, that's always been a thing of contention for me. I remember a few years ago, I said that Resident Evil 2 Remake was my Game of the Year, and a lot of people said, that's not possible. a remake cannot be a game of the year. To which I said, there's a difference because there's different kinds of remakes. Some remakes are just graphical facelifts, right? Oh, the graphics are slightly improved, but they don't really do anything to tweak the gameplay to make it better. The story's exactly the same. The music, the voice acting's the same. Just instead of being a 720p game on the Xbox 360, now it's a 1080p or 4K game on a modern console. That's a graphical facelift. And to be honest, I don't think that should be eligible for Game of the Year. You're basically riding on the work and the coattails of people who came before you, and you just did some tweaks, right? However, if you look at some of these awesome modern remakes we've had, Resident Evil 2 remake, and this year, Silent Hill 2 remake, these are games that were remade from the ground up. This is a brand new game that does have similar story elements, similar puzzles, and similar gameplay to the originals, but they are definitely new games. If you play Silent Hill 2, the original, and you play the remake, yeah, you're going to say, well, I know this story, but you're going to get more aspects to the story, new endings, and the gameplay elements have been completely changed, and the game looks completely different. It's a new game. So in that case, I definitely think that those kind of remakes should be eligible. DLCs, now here is where we start getting into a hairy business, okay? There is a very good reason why we're talking about this year, folks. I've already mentioned it on this very podcast. This year has been an incredibly underwhelming year for games. There's been, first of all, way too many RPGs. And when you have so many games in one category all coming out within 1 year, what happens is they all overshadow each other. They all become a haze. They all become almost indiscernible from each other. There's been so many RPGs this year of high profile that none of them really were able to shine. Like a Dragon Infinite Well, the Persona 3 remake, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Dragon's Dogma 2, Dragon Age Veilguard, Metaphor, Dragon Quest 3 remake. And that's 8. And I just thought off the top of my head. I guarantee you there's probably another 10 that I didn't mention. Okay? Now here's the thing. I like RPGs. I think that they're great. I really do. I grew up playing them, immersed in games like Final Fantasy 2 and 3, which is now 4 and 6 respectively, and then playing like Final Fantasy 7 on PS1, Chrono Trigger, Earthbound, even top-down RPGs that are more action-based like Zelda. Listen, I'm there. I love those games. However, if 10 of them, 12 of them came out in 1 year, I'd probably have issue. I'd be like, all right, it's too much of the same. And that's the problem. This year, it seemed like game developers just did not give a crap about their environment and what was coming out. They just dumped upon us an insane amount of the same genre of game to the point where it's a sea of them. And now they're all melded together, indiscernible. And what's happened is I feel like they've lost their luster. Last year, Baldur's Gate 3 stood out. The diamond in the rough. It was so far above the other RPGs that came out last year that you knew that was going to be the game that everyone was going to be talking about for Game of the Year. I mean, it destroyed its competition like Starfield and shit like that. It crushed it into fucking dust, right? It really was the best RPG in a very long time. This year, can you tell me one RPG that stood out above all the others? Some people would say Metaphor. I would tend to agree. In the 12 hours I played a Metaphor, it felt like Persona 5 plus. It just felt like there were all these improvements upon the formula of Persona 5, okay? So for me, it's probably Metaphor, but even then, you could argue, well, but it's very similar to Persona 5 in most ways, and I can't disagree there. It really feels like this year, RPGs flooded the market, and what's happened is normally you'd see 1 or 2 really good RPGs in a year. And then people would be like, Game of the Year contenders. But because there's been 12 RPGs of that stature this year, everyone's like, nothing stands out. So what you're faced with is a year where you got a few games, like, for example, Silent Hill 2 Remake. That stands out for me. Outstanding game, right? But really, for most people, they'll be like, well, I really liked Helldivers 2. Yeah, well, I really liked, Silent Hill Remake. Well, I really liked Metaphor. Well, I actually really like Black Ops 6, but there's no consensus. It's just all over the place this year. There's no one definitive game that people are pointing to and going like, game of the year. Instead, it's like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I didn't even play that one. But, you know, I really liked this one. And it's all over. But what did actually come out this year and stand out and make record sales numbers and everything? Guess what? A DLC by the name of Shadow of the Erdtree for Elden Ring. And if you haven't paid attention, FromSoft Games get their asses kissed, get their balls massaged. They get fluffed on the Game Awards. I mean, Sekiro won Game of the Year, for God's sakes. And that's arguably, in my opinion, the worst game FromSoft's made in the Soulsborne style category. Okay? So, the way I see it, the whole reason that we've got this as a spot of contention this year is because Jeff Keighley has every intention of naming Shadow of the Erdtree a Game of the Year nominee. We're going to find out tomorrow, but I almost guarantee you that's why this blurb was added to the Game Awards this year, because he wants Silent Hill 2 Remake and Shadow of the Erdtree to be two of his Game of the Year nominees, but you couldn't do that unless you made it clear that they were eligible, right? So that's definitely what I'm seeing, all right? However, people are very upset about this. Just to give you some examples, if you just scroll down, DLC should be its own award. Remakes, remasters its own, including them for all categories, is an insult to any fully new game. All this just so you can give Elden Ring 2 Game of the Years. This is stupid as hell. There should be a category for DLCs and expansions. This means that they're nominating Elden Ring again. This is pretty much an excuse for Elden Ring, see? So exactly what I just said, it's exactly right. And that's how everyone feels. That basically this is a whole shill idea. He wants Elden Ring to be in there. And if he didn't put that in there, the jury wouldn't vote. So this is the first of 3 pieces of controversial stuff going on. Okay? Number 2. Who is the jury? Who is this nameless, formless group of people who vote in the categories for the Game of the Year award, or Game Awards? It's just Game Awards, by the way. Not Game of the Year awards, it's just Game Awards. Well, guess what? Previous years, the voting jury would be listed on the website. See archive today. This is from previous years. And the jury would be mainstream gaming media such as Game Informer and stuff like that. Of course, Game Informer doesn't even exist anymore. But it would also be like big time other news outlets, Ars Technica, Entertainment Weekly, the LA Times. Keighley would also handpick the games media that he felt should be in it. So, for example, he has PC Gamer and Polygon there, but he doesn't have others. Okay? Also, there would be, no exaggeration, here's a year, things that essentially have nothing to do with gaming, like Pride.com. That's an activist website for, guess what? You know, gay pride. So it's like, why would they be voting on Game Awards, right? So what happened over the years is that these awards got more and more into question. Why don't the gamers vote? Well, they do, but the gamer vote is minuscule. Like, it's like the common vote counts for like 10%, while these other sites are determining the winners of all of these awards. Like, how does that make any sense? Shouldn't the gamers themselves who are buying and playing the games be the ones to determine who wins? It's kind of like the Academy Awards or the Oscars, where they've got this secret club of people who get to vote, and they determine the winners, but half the time, the movies that win, you don't even know what the fuck they are. You never heard of them. In the meanwhile, the movies that have made the most money or the most popular and everyone liked almost always get snubbed. So it's kind of the same deal at this point, right? Now, last year, Baldur's Gate 3 Across the Board was the game that got nominated and voted on. So in that regard, it's not like, oh, you know, there was an issue. But this year, in a year when we don't have a definitive game that's number one standing above all others, this year's going to be this kind of a problem. But here's the funny part about this year, folks. Guess what? They didn't bother listing the jury this year. This year, we actually have no idea who's voting for the awards at the Game Awards. it's completely been hidden and no disclosure has been given whatsoever. Could it be? Could it be that we just had an election in the United States that literally every body of government is now going to be dominated by Republicans, i.e. conservatives, but Jeff Keighley and all his buddies who are in the voting are left-leaning, right? You don't see a Fox News on here. You don't see anyone in a conservative sphere here. In fact, a lot of these you can point out, oh, leftist. And again, this isn't DS politics, but this is gaming. It seems like he is pushing his agenda onto his Game Awards show. Okay, and that's not good. It's supposed to be a show that recognizes the best games of the year, not the games that they feel are pushing their agendas. And it seems like that's what they're voting. I mean, again, Last of Us 2 swept the Game Awards in 2020 when people were saying, no, I don't think so, right? And in fact, if you take a look, I mean, Grums is, just for the record, Grums is a very, very conservative person on X. But he's basically just calling out, take a look at how each one of these, you know, is not in line with the common gamer's values these days, right? Look, Wukong and Stellar Blade will be snubbed. Dragon Age Veilguard will be lauded and propped up. That's going to be crazy. If Dragon Age Veilguard gets pushed into, like, Game of the Year contention, when the common gamer is saying it's not good and it didn't even sell well, if you guys don't know, I think they're saying that it sold something like, I think they were saying it sold, what was it, 10 million? It didn't sell that much, and they were saying it needs to sell like 4 times more copies to even be in the realm of profitability. So a game that's not selling, and in general, people who bought it don't really like it, that's going to become a Game of the Year contender, supposedly, right? That's just crazy to me. Is it only 1 million? Holy shit, I thought it was 10 million. Someone says, no, it just broke 1 million in sales. That's crazy. Anyway, so this year, number one, DLCs and remakes are now eligible for Game of the Year. Number two, the jury voting for Game of the Year is hidden. We don't know at all who the heck the jury is. They hid it, and they're not saying this year who it is. And then on top of all of that, okay, just to put the icing on the cake, just to put the cherry on top of this shit sundae that is the Game Awards at this point, okay? If you're not aware, this just happened. Jeff Keighley is attempting to trademark the term Game Awards with the U.S. Patent Office. If this goes through and he gets a patent on Game Awards, it means no one else will be able to host an award show with the words Game Awards in it, of any scope. Like, if he gets this patent, I literally can't say, it's DSP's Game Awards for 2024. He could actually hit me and say, no, I own the patent. I'm going to sue you. Take down your video. Take down your stream. You would have to say, Game of the Year Awards. You would have to say, Best Games Countdown. You would literally have to change the title of this. You understand? How crazy is that? This reminds me, if you remember years ago, this was many years ago, like 2017, okay? There was this group of creators on YouTube called the Fine Brothers. Now, no one knew who they were because they were behind-the-scenes financiers and producers of the series Elders React, Kids React, Teens React. Do you remember those shows and how big they were on YouTube at the time? That was over 7 years ago. Well, the Fine Brothers flew too close to the sun, like Icarus and his wings, and the wax melted and they plummeted into the sea. Because they actually tried to, I forget if it was trademark or patent, the actual concept of the React video. Okay? So basically what they tried to do is say, if you make content that's React, well, we own the rights to that. So you can't do that. Anyone who made any React content, they would have had legal grounds to say, oh, no, you can't call it a React because we own the rights to reacting on YouTube. So you have to call it something different. You could call it Responds or Retorts or, you know, Pill Stream. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. I had some indigestion there and it just came out. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, You can say we call it whatever you want, but you can't call it a react. Okay? So what happened was when word of this broke on the internet, people went crazy all over social media, all over YouTube. They were like, these guys are scumbags. These guys, first of all, are already rich. The Fine brothers started making this whole series of videos on YouTube that made them rich. Okay? By the way, it's all staged. It was literally proven to all be staged content. It was never real reacting at all. It was all actors acting in a certain way that was scripted. Okay? So they're filthy rich from this content. Now they want to make it so no one else can ever make react content ever. So what happened was they got such bad reputation. They came out with this big apology campaign. We're so sorry. We swear that's not what it was. Please believe us. In fact, you know what? Here, we'll cancel it. And they did. They actually canceled their attempt to do the trademark or the patent or whatever it was, but it was too late. Their reputation was destroyed so badly, people didn't want to watch their videos anymore. And from what I'm to understand, they actually had to sell their company off so that people would, like, you know, not basically completely destroy their YouTube channel. They had to sell it to someone else to run. Now, I'm sure they made insane amounts of money on it and they didn't give a fuck, right? But in this case, why are you trying to patent something that's general? The Game Awards. Like, dude, you should be happy. All right? Literally, you should be happy that people even watch your show. You came out of nowhere. You were a games journalist that was covering things like E3 and shit. And then somehow you came on to money. Don't ask me how he came on to his money. It's weird that he's a games journalist and the next day he has enough money to finance shows. But he starts financing this Game Awards and he starts doing Summer Game Fest. And he just so happens to do it right place, right time, where E3 is floundering and dropping the ball and flubbing it all. And he picks up the reins for E3 and basically shows that they don't need to exist anymore. So now he gets all this newfound attention and a big positive push from the gaming community. And good on him. You know, right place, right time. That's the same as my story. You know, I didn't do anything that I feel, you know, rethought anything or whatever. I was just at the right place at the right time, making improv commentary videos on YouTube over gameplay. And it took off and it inspired a hell of a lot of people to make that style of content over the years. And here I am 16 years later, still able to make a living doing it. And I'm very grateful for that. But hell, if I tried to do that 5 years ago, I would have failed. If I tried to do it 10 years ago, I would have failed. I feel like he was just completely right place, right time, and somehow had the money to do it. I don't know if he found investors who just believed in him or whatever, but here he is, running the Game Awards every year. He's very much trying to make it the Oscars of gaming, right? And he wants that notoriety. Who knows if he'll get it? And he wants to now patent it. And now people are flipping out. They're like, no, you can't do that. If you do that, you're saying no one can ever have a Game Awards? See, a lot of people covered the story as well. A lot of people covered the story as well. Where is this from? I think this is an old meme. That looks old to me, right? Like old-ass meme. But people are not too happy about this at all. Yeah, I don't know. So basically, so there's three things going on with these Game Awards, right? It's like, wow, all at once. It's like the perfect storm. I wonder what's going to happen. So tomorrow, all right, we're going to have the game nominees for Game of the Year. All the nominees will be announced tomorrow. On this show, I will cover that for you because it's coming out 9 a.m. So we can do thorough coverage of the Game Award nominees tomorrow on the Level 1 podcast. We'll go through them one by one. We'll see if we agree or not. Personally, I feel like a lot of the games this year were underwhelming. Maybe some people disagree. I think the shoo-ins for Game of the Year are Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Silent Hill 2 Remake, right? Maybe Astrobot could be a good contender in there. A lot of people are saying Black Myth Wukong. I disagree. But if you really like the game, I can understand why that would be a Game of the Year contender for you. Some people are saying Stellar Blade. I'm going to be honest. I don't think Stellar Blade is worth it. From everything I've seen of the game, it just doesn't look like it was anything special. People were just drooling over a woman. It's pretty ridiculous. It doesn't, you know, it's Bayonetta. It's the same as fucking these other games. But I'm curious what people are going to actually nominate and what's going to be. And are people going to be crazy on the internet about it? I'll tell you right now, Veilguard, dude, if they put fucking Veilguard in there, they're out of their minds. Like, no one likes Veilguard at all. It's a very underperforming, underwhelming game. Even me, I'm not shitting on the game, and I'm what 7-8 hours in, and I'm just kind of like, nah, it's passable. It's just fucking passable, right? Now, if they put Shadow of the Erd Tree in there, because DLCs are eligible, listen, I'm actually not opposed to that. Shadow of the Erd Tree was quite good. It was like Elden Ring with a few additions. Not that they were different, but it was basically like the fan service ending to Elden Ring. Give everyone a zillion new weapons, right? Because everyone just wants zany weapons. So give everyone a zillion zany weapons and just toss them at a bunch of cool bosses. And there you go. That's Shadow of the Erd Tree, right? So I liked it. I don't know if it's game of the year for me, but I definitely liked it. But I could understand why it would get a nomination. But I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out. It's gonna be pretty crazy tomorrow. All right. So I hope that tomorrow will be an interesting day here on the show. We'll have a lot to talk about. Okay. So tomorrow it is definitely Game Awards discussion day. Okay. Pretty cool. Okay. So now allow me to do shout outs, and I apologize that I took this long to do them because I wanted to get through that story and we need to keep my train of thought. Our first super chat of the day is from Frank, who did a $2 super chat and says, "Shut up and take my money." Well, Frank, actually, that's the animation for a $5 tip. Thank you, Frank. Oops. Frank in all capitals yelling for some reason. With that $1.99 super chat, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and I'll count it as a 2. There you go. On the tip side of things, we have a few tips to shout out this morning. Our first tip is a $5 tip from Score. He says, "All due respect, the whole there's no games coming out thing sucks to hear when Rebirth and Metaphor were skipped." Rebirth and Metaphor were not skipped. I beg to differ, Score. Now listen, please, with all due respect, I'm not going to be insulting to you at all. What you said is not factually accurate. Not. At all. I played both games. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I played for 21 hours. I checked the other day. I played 21 hours of it. All right? And after 21 hours, people stopped showing up to the streams and stopped supporting them. I had a stream of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth where we couldn't even bring in 150 viewers, and I made $10. And it was a 3-hour gameplay segment. I tried. Really, I did. People refused to show up for RPGs. Now you're talking about Metaphor. I love Metaphor. To me, out of all the games I played this year, Metaphor is my RPG of the year. I'm serious. The 12 hours I played of Metaphor were a delight. I loved the gameplay. I loved the art style. The story was getting incredibly interesting. Everything in the game was good. I think I had one complaint, and that was that the optional dungeon was too tough. And it's obviously it's meant that you come back and do it later or whatever. But outside of that, I thought Metaphor was absolutely, positively outstanding. Okay? Seriously. And I played it for 12 hours, the demo. So basically, I played a good first chunk of it through the intro. By the last stream of Metaphor, again, I couldn't hold 200 viewers. I didn't even get $50 in support. What do you want me to do? I have to play stuff that people want to see and are willing to show up, watch, and support. Because this is my job. I know it's confusing because gaming in general is entertainment. And it's meant to be something you do as a hobby or relaxation. For me, it is, but it's also my job. I have to do things that people want to see because it's my work. Things that people are willing to pay for so that I can make a living. People will not show up, support, and pay for RPGs right now. I don't know what changed there because they used to, but now they don't. My attendance has been very low and the support has been very low every time I've touched an RPG this year. And it's every RPG too, just for the record. Like a Dragon, Final Fantasy VII, Dragon's Dogma, Metaphor, now Veilguard. Like every RPG I've attempted to play in 2024 has had the same issue. So you can try to speculate what the issue is. I've already tried that. But I can't make people show up. People show up for action-based games like Call of Duty or Bloodborne or Street Fighter 6, right? They do. They even show up for my podcast. Today, we have 372 people on the show. We have I think around 30 people over on Kick. Oh, almost 40 people over on Kick. So we have over 400 viewers just for my podcast, right? and so obviously it's not me. People are here to hang out with me and have a good time. But it seems the moment I boot up an RPG, people go to sleep. And that's sad. It really is. It is. And here's the thing. If people were more apt to support, for example, take a look at what happened with Baldur's Gate 3. With Baldur's Gate 3, for something like 4 months, I played the game. Over 200 hours, right? It was one of the longest playthroughs I've ever done. Views were down. Ad revenue was way down. But some people did show up and actually support the playthrough, so I kept playing it. Okay? It hurt the channel, though. It really did. Me playing that game as long as I did literally hurt this channel. It was a big shot, like, boom. Loss of views, loss of attention for like 3 months. And then I started bringing back action-based games, and people came back again. And it was a slow build back. It really was. But if more people were apt to at least support the RPGs, then I would consider playing them, even with low attendance and low views. Because that's another thing. The videos don't even get views. Right now I'm playing a Veilguard. The videos don't even get 300 views. So it's got to come, it's a business as well as a hobby, but it's a business. It's what's meant to pay my bills. I have to play things people want. When people are not showing up and not actively supporting RPGs, it means that's not what you want. I'm sorry, I'm just being matter of fact here, but that's the case. So, if, for example, people were like, yeah, well, if you keep playing Veilguard, we'll make sure you hit your support goal every stream, then I would keep playing it. Or same thing with, with Metaphor. If people had said, yeah, you're your support goal, don't worry. I didn't. I played Metaphor. It killed the streak. So, I'm not sure what else to say. I didn't not play the games or skip them. I did play them. They failed. I can't make certain genres of game be more popular with my general viewing audience. I just can't. I don't know what else to say. If people are showing up for certain games and not others, if people show up for the podcast, if people show up for the politics show, but they're not showing up for RPGs, I can't twist their arm and make them show up and support. Okay? And I know it's sad because it's an entire genre, and I like the genre. It's one of my favorites. But I can't. This is gaming culture right now, essentially. You understand? Culture's changing, and in general, what's happening is these RPGs are becoming more niche. They are. Why? Because there's too many. It used to be 1 or 2 RPGs a year. Okay, great. Everyone get on board. We love these RPGs. Now there's 17 in a year. So now everyone goes and plays the one that they like, and now no one can agree on what's their favorite, and now they get less attention and less support, and no one cares about them anymore. It's the same thing that would happen if there were too many first-person shooters, if there were too many fighting games. It's the same. And that's happened before, too. Do you remember early on in my time as a YouTuber, at one point there was like 10 to 12 FPS games within a year. And what would happen is they would all kill each other, and then ultimately only Call of Duty would come out on top because no one could remember the others. There was just too many. Now there's no competition for Call of Duty. It's literally the only FPS in a year. So it's kind of the flip side now. But this is not the first time this has happened in the industry. I don't know if it's just game developers find it easier to develop RPGs, so they're pumping them out at a more rapid pace or something. I don't know. But there's just too many. If we had a Baldur's Gate 3 this year, I'd play it. There's no Baldur's Gate 3 this year. You should play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I did, it failed. Oh, you should play Metaphor. I did, it failed. Like, what do you want me to do? It's not that I didn't play them. I'm playing Veilguard right now. Can't get viewers for it. Don't know what to say, guys. Okay. Let's see here. Someone named Richard Burnell tipped $1 and said cry. About what? Cry about what? I don't have anything to cry about. I'm good. You cry in 2 cases. Actually, you cry in 3 cases. If you're really upset and sad, if you're really happy, or if you're in pain. Well, I'm not very upset and sad. I'm good. I'm happy, but I'm not like overwhelming, overjoyed, and I'm certainly not in pain. So, see, Zaneed made a point. Zaneed says, people like turn-based RPGs. Sadly, most people don't like watching them. I hate to say it, that's different than how it used to be. I used to be able to play any kind of game and people would show up. Now it seems like people want certain genres of game, and then they want me to do other kinds of content. Again, it's not that there's no demand and no interest. It's that the interest is just not for RPGs this year. That's it. That's the one genre that's failed. Like, I've done other... Look, think about it. I played Nintendo World Championships. That worked. Seriously. I played both retro and new fighting games. Both worked. I played a good variety of stuff this year. You know, I really have. Everything worked but RPGs. RPGs is the one common factor of failure for some reason. Okay. I received another $1 tip. From Sarah. I know you don't get on with Craig and side scrollers. Would you support their attempt at creating an alternative game awards, the real game awards? No, because they're just grifters. They're not the ones to do it. Dude, Craig is so out of touch with video games, his video game show failed. He rebooted side scrollers and it flopped miserably. He had to turn it into a fucking political show. Why would I want him in charge of the game awards? That's insanity. That's just as out of touch as anyone else. Like, you know what I mean? If you want to talk about someone doing it just for the money, that's someone doing it just for the fucking money. And by the way, he's done shit like this before. Before he rebooted side scrollers, he did this initiative where he was raising money, where he was going to do this way to promote people and their content and stuff. It was this weird thing. I forgot what it was called. But, you know, as I was searching the internet about the guy before I was on their show, I found this weird thing. And basically no one brings it up. It's like this weird thing that people swept under the rug. He did this big fundraiser campaign. It was one of those websites, raise money for this, right? And he raised thousands of dollars for it, where people were paying to be, I guess what was supposed to happen is you pay into it, and then you're going to be part of this program where you get promoted. So you're supposed to be able to get like, you know, oh, this is the way it's going to beat YouTube and Twitch. You're going to be able to get discoverability if you join this program or whatever. So a bunch of people paid in and he just canceled it. He just canceled the whole thing. Oh, no. And then no one really like questions him about it or anything. So this is not the first time this guy has like a big idea of fundraising for something, and then it doesn't work. You know, you tell me, give me literally one reason why you think that stuttering Craig has the notability, dependability, or track record that he could run a game award. Seriously. Name one fucking thing. This guy's been out of touch with video games for like a decade. Let's see here. Luthes did a $5 Canadian super chat. Says, you skipped Rebirth. I watched your streams. You hit your goal and everyone except for 2. Yeah, the last 2. When I stopped playing it. You're correct. Actually, he's dead on correct. At first, Rebirth was getting support. That's absolutely correct. I remember. The first few streams had good attendance and everything. And then, basically, when we got to around the teens of viewership, like around 15 hours in, the entire attention dropped off completely and people stopped showing up and engaging and supporting. The last stream, I seriously remember this, okay? The last stream, this is $3 Canadian. Isn't that like $3 American? I should test, but the last stream of whatchamacallit, the last stream of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, sorry, because I'm trying to do 2 things at once here. Here, let me do this first before I get distracted. I can't do this. Here we go. $3.55. There we go. Got it. That's basically, we're at $12 now. Okay. And then, so let me answer the question, and then let me go to the next contribution. So the final stream that I did of, excuse me, the final stream that I did of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth had less than 200 viewers, okay? Had almost no support. I swear it was like a $15 stream. And on top of all of that, get this, the chat stopped paying attention to the game and me entirely. I was trying to talk to them. They literally weren't talking to me. They were acting like I wasn't there. And it became a sports chat. The entire room was talking about sports. And I turned to everyone. I said, what the fuck are you doing? This is a video game stream. This is not your open chat room to start talking about sports. Like, I get it. You don't like the game. But this is not basketball chat or whatever. I think we were in the midst of, like, March Madness. And people were talking about the basketball games. Right? And I was like, this is not what this is for. So stop. And then people, oh, let's meme that Phil doesn't want sports in his chat. No, it's not the case. It's that I'm here to put out a gameplay stream for you. I'm doing the game right now, and literally no one's paying attention whatsoever. So what you're saying is false, Luthes. I gave it a fair shot, 21 hours. By the final stream, no one cared about the game. I can't stream shit no one cares about. I'm a public streamer. I'm not streaming for myself. I'm streaming for a public consumption. The public doesn't want to consume it. You know? And you should know if you were there, you saw it yourself. I'm not making any of this up whatsoever. You know that, right? So there you go. All right. Bloom Kid with a $5 super chat. To be fair, you dropped or most of the best games. And he must have had a grammar error. To be fair, you dropped most of the best games this year. Not trying to be negative, just being honest. Well, that's a subjective thing to say. For example, if you're talking about Metaphor, I think I believe you. I mean, I only played 12 hours of it, but I loved it, and it sucked that I couldn't keep playing it. If you're talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I don't know if I agree with you there. At first, it started off strong, but once I started doing the content that was considered to be the open world content to add to the game, I didn't think it was that good. The first open world segment was good. The second open world segment was identical. And I was like, oh, is this going to be the whole game? And everyone confirmed that's the whole game. You get a story beat that's pretty good for like 3-4 hours, and then you get an open world that's just repetitive and boring. And it just alternates between the two. That doesn't make a game of the year for me. Sorry. You know, it just doesn't. So, yeah. But I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe Metaphor. But outside of that, what else did I play and drop? You think Dragon's Dogma 2? I don't know about that. And as for Black Myth Wukong, again, I'm sorry. Black Myth Wukong suffered the same fate. That was a game that I played over 20 hours of. And at first it was good. But once you get halfway into the game, the entire design of the game broke apart and failed. It was boring as dirt. It was too much open world wandering with no guidance, not knowing what the hell you're doing. It was boring as hell. The combat was incredibly repetitive, right? And it got to the point where even though I was making an advancement, no one cared. The attendance, again, fell off. They killed the streak. That was the game that killed the first streak. We were at 41, and the momentum was superb, and everyone was watching my content. I was still in that, 1 month of huge boosted attention because I was on Kino Casino. People were still watching me for that kind of drama content and stuff. So it wasn't even that, I didn't have that attention. It was there. Just people didn't like the game, man. Again, I can't make people like a game. The game can only be as good as what it is when it was made. And there's some viewers. Okay, here we go. You ready? It's time to be honest. Ready for this? Some people need a dose of honesty. You're going to get it this morning from me. Okay, you ready? There are people out there that are so beloved, content creators, that literally people will do anything to watch them. It doesn't matter if they're playing a game. It doesn't matter what game they're playing. It doesn't matter if they're just sitting here talking about their day. It doesn't matter if they're talking about the news or politics. It doesn't matter if they're talking about their finances. It doesn't matter if they have a gripe and they're bitching about something. It doesn't matter if they're taking a shit or blowing their nose. People will still watch and send them money. You understand that? I'm not that person. When people come to Dark Side Phil, they come for different reasons. Some people cherish my opinions on video games, okay? Some people find certain content that I put out funny or entertaining. Some people watch me to hate me, right? But I am not of that level of popularity where I can just play any game and people will watch it regardless. People will actually come to my streams if I'm playing a good game and watch in droves and enjoy. And if I'm playing a bad game, they go, wow, this game sucks, and they'll leave. You get that? That's just because, and again, I'm not the kind of guy that lies. Maybe if the entire time that I'm playing a game, I'm like, this is the best game ever. I can't believe how good this is. Wow, it's so good. Maybe then I'd retain more of an audience for certain kinds of games. But if I'm honest about a game, right, like a Black Myth Wukong started off very strong. I was actually quite impressed with the game. And then it fell apart halfway through. The moment that you hit chapter 3, the game is boring as dirt. They fucked it up. And that's on them. They definitely didn't have to do that, but they didn't know how to build a world that was interesting or a world that was well designed like FromSoft does. They did manage to emulate certain things FromSoft does, but they didn't really perfect anything different, nor did they do a good job of making that world interesting past World 3. You know, once you hit World 3, like, this is fucking boring now. And everyone agreed. Everyone watching agreed. So because I'm honest, now the interest falls off for the game. I could have lied. I could have said the game was absolutely amazingly outstanding, the best game I've ever seen, kissed its butt in every fucking direction. But that's not who I am. You know, and it's not. I'm not someone to lie and kiss a game's butt. 16 years of content creation. I'm not going to change overnight and become the yes man so that I can receive bags of cash in every direction and get tons of extra viewers. That's what tons of content creators do and have done, and that's the path they've taken. That's not the path that I've taken. So I'm not the kind of guy that can sit here and play any game and be successful. That's just because I'm truthful, right? I can't make a game that's actually quite boring more entertaining unless I just sit there ripping on it, but people will laugh for 5 minutes, but then they want to see something else, right? So I'm sorry, you know, and in the case of certain games, like Metaphor, I'm sorry, I really tried. I loved it. Every moment I played it, I told you how much I liked it. I couldn't get people to like it. I don't know what to say. Again, the audience for that game just isn't my audience. And it sucks, because how is it that now that Metaphor, I'm not playing it, and I agree with you, it probably is the best RPG of the year. How is it that now people have an issue with this? Well, where were you when I was playing Metaphor? Were you on the stream? Were you supporting it? If you weren't, that's why I'm not playing it right now. So what do you want me to do? You know? Sorry that I'm a normal guy. I'm not some ginormous guy who makes thousands of dollars every stream he puts out, and then I have the flexibility to play whatever I want, and it's kind of like, you know what it is? It's fuck you money. It's, well, I don't care what anyone says or does. Doesn't matter how popular a game is. I can play whatever I want. I don't have that level of flexibility. Right now, Dragon Quest III Remake just came out this week. You notice I didn't even mention it? This is a JRPG. But it just came out this week. People are saying it's so good. It's so good. Some people said I'm even liking it better than Metaphor. Some people have said that. Now, I don't know if I would like it better than Metaphor. I know I love Dragon Quest. I would love to play the remake. I didn't even talk about it. Why? Because I know this audience doesn't like it. You know what I'm saying? I just know it. So I'm not even going to try to, like, mess with that and get people's, you know, hopes up or whatever. Why would I? It sucks, but it's just reality. All right? And sometimes in life, you just have to focus on reality for what it is. To Luthace, to Bloomkit, to others who wanted to see these RPGs this year, I'm actually with you. I grew up playing RPGs. I love them. But they're apparently not working for the audience. I have tried, and they fail. I can't bring in viewers. I can't retain viewers, and I don't make any money. And this is my life and my business. I have to be responsible with what I do in the content that I put out. I don't know how else to say it. No other content creator is going to tell you this, by the way. You understand that? Every other content creator will make excuses, but I'm honest with my audience because I feel like I've earned that distinction in 16 years. You know, when I'm here and telling you these things, it's because I want to be transparent with you and because I care enough about you and your feelings about games and stuff. People are like, you're not playing the best games of the year. You may be correct. I can't confirm that because I haven't played them through. You very well may be correct, but there's nothing I can do about that. I can't make audience action change. All I can do is put out content and see what you like and continue to play what you like and cut out what you don't. So I don't even know what else to say about it. Listen, the way to change an action you don't like, okay, is to take action yourself. If you like RPGs, tune in and support the RPG streams. Watch the RPG videos after the fact. That's how you get more RPGs in the rotation. Don't you think that if people actually did attend and support the Metaphor streams that I would be playing the game right now? Of course I would. I might have been done with it by now. Probably not, because you know me, I play so many games at once. But I would love to. Why do you think I did? I was ready to. I played almost the entire demo. It was like an hour left, and I quit, you know? I just don't even know what else to say. It also could be very simple. Streaming and gameplay is oversaturated, right? When I play an RPG, my experience with that RPG isn't necessarily going to be much different than another person's. Maybe just a reaction to a story element or something, but for the most part, it's going to be very similar. As opposed to fighting games is 100% my level of skill, my level of input. Competitive games online like Call of Duty, exactly the same. Or Bloodborne. That's a challenging game. You get to see me take on tough, difficult challenges and then overcome them, and you get that feeling of, risk and rage, but then perseverance. That's different than just chill stream RPG. Maybe there's just too many chill stream RPG streamers out there now, and they're much bigger than me. So they're sucking up all the attention for those games. And the thing is also, there's always some weird excuse, which I don't understand. Oh, Phil, well, the reason people didn't watch Metaphor is because you played the demo. And the demo was out early before the game came out, so people didn't want to spoil. What? If I didn't play the demo, I would have heard, well, Phil, the reason people don't watch you play Metaphor is because you played it too late. Everyone was playing the demo and you didn't play it. So now you're behind it. No one cares. They've already played the game. I can play your game too. The excuse game is stupid. There's no excuses for this shit. It just is. Okay? So I don't really know what else to say. I just don't. I've tried my best, and it is what it is. If anyone else has some kind of insightful thing to say, I'm all ears. I just don't feel like there's enough insight here to figure it out. Besides, RPGs just did not work this year. Okay, and I know some of you are upset by that, but you could have remedied that by showing up and supporting those streams, and you didn't, which is why I'm not playing RPGs. I'm trying Veilguard because it was donated, and that's starting to fail too. The last stream did poorly. We're doing it again tomorrow, and if it does poorly again, we might not play it again. Okay? What's funny is these people can't even dispute it. Like, they know I tried to play the games. They know I gave them more than a fair shake. I can understand your frustration, but I don't know how you can blame me. That's what I don't get. Like, your frustration is warranted. I'm frustrated too. I like RPGs and I can't play them right now, but I don't understand how you could blame Darkside Phil for this when I've been trying so much, and I can't make people like a genre of game, and it really is a genre at this point. It really is. Thank you to Fatalis. Fatalis became a channel member this morning, and that is a brand new one, so thank you for that. Let's get that on the leaderboard. And then I received a $20 tip from a pickled boner. Wow. Well, that's nice of you. But it sure would be great if we could get someone to get a bigger tip than that, so we don't have to stare at pickled boner on the leaderboard all day. I'm just saying. Okay. Wolflike did a £2 super chat and says, try System Shock Remake again. Yeah, I was liking System Shock Remake. I really was. And, I feel like it was working for two reasons. Number one, because it was a game that was one of my first games I ever played on my gaming PC. So I was able to play it at super high quality, and it was actually coming through. You could see, wow, the game was running beautifully on PC. So it was kind of like a tech test. Number two, because I never played System Shock before at all. So it was me experimenting with an IP, right, that I never played before. So it was cool to see that. And also, let's be honest, because I was getting inflated numbers at that time because of the Kino Casino thing that had happened just at the same time, right? So there were three reasons why it was working. And the only reason we stopped playing it was because other new games were coming out that people wanted more, and System Shock Remake was not a new release. It was actually old. And I said I would go back to it. Maybe I would go back to it someday. I don't know, right? See, Sparkle, the Sparkle Dog says, well, Num Nums, the Sparkle Dog says, I'm not blaming you. I wonder if people mainly watch action games because you rage. Maybe if you get more angry during RPGs. I don't know. I'm trying to help. Yeah, in general, a lot of people watch me for different reasons. Some people are here for the rage. Some people are here for the perseverance. Some people like to see me play a game I'm better at. Some people like to see me play a game I suck at and fail. Like, there's completely different reasons people tune in, I feel. That's just a thing that happens when you're a content creator for as long as I've been. That you got people who've discovered me from all different avenues in all different ways, and so everyone tunes in for a different reason, Oh, yeah? Ban Bonchan says System Shock Remake will make you rage quit later in the game. Does it really become insanely difficult? Wow. Someone named Suffa properly says, the issue is you don't streamline games. You need to skip boring side quests and focus on main story. That doesn't mean rushing. You have no clue, man. You really have no clue. You do realize that's the philosophy that I used when I was first a YouTuber. You realize that, right? So from the years of 2009, I would say more like 2010 when I started doing this seriously for a job, to 2000, say 14-ish, I was someone who, when I played a game, my goal was to beat it as fast as humanly possible. I would buy a game, bring it home from GameStop, start playing it, play it. Within 2 days, I'd be completely done with it, skipping side content, rushing through just to get the playthrough done, and then I'd be on to the next game. I would beat games so fast, some weeks I would have 3 to 4 games to trade in at a time at GameStop, and they would back then stack the rewards you would get. Sometimes I would get back 70% of the value of a game because I was beating them so fast. They wanted them back immediately so they could resell them at and make big profits. So yeah, like that was what DSP was known for. Man, DSP is the guy who gets games on release day, beats it within 2 days. He's got a full playthrough up. You can watch the whole game from start to finish and judge for yourself if you want to play it. But you want to know what happened? At first it worked, and then here's what happened. Around 2013, 2014, everyone turned on me and said, you are the most lazy creator. You don't put any effort into your game playthroughs. You skip so much meaningful content, and then you don't know about it. When you go to review a game, sometimes you say a game isn't good, but you missed most of the good content because it was side content. And then you say a game's a certain length, but it really isn't because you didn't do the side content. And you never really get a full picture of what a game is because you rush through too much because all you care about is money. You want to make that playthrough, get it out quick, get the views, make your money. So, Phil, you're a greedy, low-effort, lazy creator who only cares about money. That's the criticism I got. So once I started to become a streamer, I changed my philosophy entirely. And I said, from now on, we are now going to be doing full playthroughs. We're going to explore side content. We're going to thoroughly do these things. So then you get a full picture idea of what the game is. And people applauded me for it and liked the fact that I was taking my time with games and stuff like that, right? But that was a while. I think what it is gaming culture changes, man. It does. Gaming culture changes so much. It's like, so I started off one way. I changed to be another way because everyone demanded it. Now it's years later. People are saying, go back to the old way again. But I evolved over time. I changed as a person, as a creator. How do you go back? I'm supposed to forget everything that I just learned in the last 15 years and just go back to the beginning? And the funny part is it might actually work. If I actually went back to the beginning and started acting like original Darkside Phil, it might actually work. But that's not who I am anymore. You understand? You can't ask someone to change so much, then they change, and then they say, oh, well, we want you, the old Phil, back. Too late. It's too late. You changed Phil. Now I'm older. I'm more mature. I'm a lot more mellow. I'm certainly not as angry as I used to be all the time. Right? I have different opinions on things. I can't go back to be 27-year-old Phil, yelling at every game at the top of his lungs, rushing through every game to pump out videos for ad revenue. I barely even make any ad revenue. You know, it's definitely different now. Wolf-like did another $2 super chat. RPGs will probably make a comeback on your channel. I mean, I wish they would. Wolf-like, I'm being honest. I wish they would. I'm just as upset as you guys. I want RPGs and I can't play them and it sucks ass. It really does. I want RPGs back in the mix. I want RPGs to be a part of my key content. And right now, it seems like it can't be. And it sucks, right? Well, I mean, I am in the middle of a resurgence, but the resurgence is not gameplay resurgence. The resurgence that I'm having is that people actually are listening to me and my opinions now. If I have an opinionated video to make about a topic, people listen to it. It's not, oh, that's Darkside Phil, throw that video out. It's, oh, what did Darkside Phil have to say about this? It's a little interesting. And then it's a buzz. People talk about it in different communities and things, right? Very different. It used to be, oh, Darkside Phil, that clown of the internet. No one cares about him or anything he has to say. It's a little different now. That's a good feeling, right? And now I got people who come by for my different kinds of content. That's excellent, right? Yes. But The resurgence isn't, oh, well, people plays any game and everyone loves it. It's not, it's a different kind of resurgence. It's not resurgence for gaming. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, I used to make videos that were just talking for 20 minutes on a topic, and the video would get hundreds of thousands of views. That happened many times. It's just those days are long gone, right? All right, guys. Well, we definitely have to end the show. Let's end here. Tomorrow's going to be a heck of a show. Because tomorrow, we got to review all of the Game Awards nominees. I can't imagine how this one's going to go. The Game Awards nominee, I feel like you're going to have Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, and everyone's going to lose their shit. I feel like you're going to have Dragon Age Veilguard, and everyone's going to lose their shit. And it's going to be a shit show. Tomorrow will be the Shit Show Awards. He should just patent, or, yeah, he should patent Shit Show Awards. Or he call, how about this? The Liberal Awards, the Libbies. He call them the Libbies. Welcome to the Libbies. We're all the left-leaning media votes on awards that aren't in line with actually the common gamer, right? The Libbies. Okay. Anyway, thank you guys for watching the Level 1 podcast. Tomorrow we got a good one coming. Now I'm off to play Bloodborne, which I can't wait for. Thank you guys for being patient. And tomorrow will be a good one. I wish you the best. Be safe. See you for gameplay all day. And peace out.